Every teacher has wrestled with the idea of, should I put my kids through grades? Is it a good idea or a bad idea? And I'm here to tell you, it's not that simple. Hello everyone, my name is Adam. I'm a professional working musician working in gigging as an artist and also teaching and running my own music school in the UK. Generally, kind of worldwide, or at least in the Western music scene, I think there has always been an ongoing debate of whether actually grades are beneficial for students, whether they prepare a student to fully become a professional musician themselves, or actually are they just holding students back into a very linear structure that isn't what it's like being a musician in this working day. So unfortunately, it's not really black or white and it's quite a grey area still. So let me present to you 5 pros of music grades, but also 5 cons. Alright, now at various points over the last maybe 11 to 12 years, my work circumstances have meant that sometimes I need to do more teaching and sometimes I need to do less teaching. But generally, the most students I've probably ever done one-to-one with in a week will have been about 30 students. And that, let me tell you, is a lot of headspace and it's a lot of planning and it's a lot of considering and communicating with different people. So in this case, grades are definitely a pro. Because essentially you're just buying a resource from someone else that you learn and then you can teach it to other students. So either as someone new to teaching or someone that's been doing it for a little while now, actually it's worth kind of dipping your foot into teaching grades to students. Now, one of the things I absolutely love about one-to-one tuition is that I get to tailor to their specific music tastes or what they're interested in, or actually what is the main goal of these lessons. Is it to become a proficient musician, or is it just to do it for fun, or is it for health reasons, or etc, etc, etc. And so actually realistically, sometimes grades don't often fit the mold of some people's lives. So all I'm saying is just be prepared that not everyone is going to take to grades. I tend to find it's about 50-50 for people that want to take grades or not. Particularly for adults, there's not really much of an incentive to push for grades, and we'll go into more of the reasoning for that later in this video. So yeah, I'd say it's a pro. Nice, easy prep. Now to kind of partner with that pro, let's go with a con that's sort of in the same boat. What I would say for a lot of instruments and grade learning material out there is a big gap from beginner books into grade 1. Now, I'm not going to go into who is the best in terms of Rock School or Trinity or ABRSM in terms of content, but in my experience, sometimes looking at grades like guitar or piano and looking at grade 1, it's actually quite hard. And I know certain syllabuses and curriculums offer a debut grade, but what I would say to music teachers is it's worth knowing what your kind of beginner material is for students as well. And that's for children, for kind of early teenagers, and for adults as well. And something different for each one that appeals to that sort of age bracket. Pro number 2. So this one's for the parents. It's really helpful for parents to be involved as much as possible for one-to-one lessons so they get the most out of it with their child. But if you're a parent that has never played an instrument before, especially if you're new to how the Western music scene works, a linear structure where they can tick off boxes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, really helpful just for parents to know that their child is moving from the next level to the next level to the next level. And it's also something that they get to celebrate with their kid as well, which is always lovely for me to see as their teacher. Now, the con paired with that is that kids are already doing a lot in school. So when you're getting into GCSE level at ages 15 to 16, you could be doing anywhere from 15 to like 22 exams by the end of that year. So actually, putting a music grade / another exam on top of all those existing exams just isn't the right time, and that's okay. And don't be put off putting kids through music grades because there are exams in school. There's always going to be exams in school. But what it is worth doing is just checking in with them and saying, are you a little bit overwhelmed or stressed with some of the stuff in school? Actually, you can take a break from the grade and come back to it, and that's totally fine. I'll just have students that book off the whole of May and June because it is super intense, and that's okay. All right, pro number 3. We're halfway there. There is lots of ways of how you can do exams and also how you submit and take exams. So this possibly could have been a thing before COVID, but it's definitely now way more mainstream than it used to be. You no longer have to go to an exam centre to sit your exam. You can pre-record your exam anywhere. And I tend to do exam recordings all the time within lessons depending on the instrument. The way the system would normally work and has done for many years is you sign up for an exam at a certain centre And this might not be the case for all examination boards now, but when you're first doing the initial registering, you can't always pick the date and time. And eventually down the road, when the exam board has liaised with the venue about booking rooms out and bringing an examiner in, then maybe a few weeks or a month before the actual exam, you'll get the date and time. Whereas with pre-recording, obviously not everyone is super comfortable in front of a camera, but you can practice doing mock exams and mock recordings. You just get a lot more control over the finished product, especially if you're going to spend months and months learning material for this exam. The con with this one, I think, is really if it's the first time that you're having to upload a recording or send a recording off, depending on which exam board you do it with, it could be a real pain and it could be really tricky. Now, I appreciate for a lot of exam boards, this is a new system of uploading recordings, but I can't imagine a student having to do some of these uploads. So if you're new to uploading exam recordings and filling out the forms and everything, I would definitely sit down with someone who's done it before so they can guide you through the process. So a couple of really awesome pros, especially if you think your child is going to go off and do music in some way or form as a career or just into further education down the road. Music grades are really appealing to employers like me, because I know that you've specialized in that instrument and you've sat down for hundreds and thousands of disciplined hours, becoming the very best at your instrument. The other really awesome thing about grades 6, 7 and 8, in the UK we have these things called UCAS points, and UCAS points are what we have at the end of our A levels, so the exams you finish at age of 18, and you add them all up with your A levels, and that's what helps you get into university, those UCAS points. And depending on whether you got a pass, a merit or a distinction for grades 6 to 8, you get some extra juicy UCAS points. In fact, a distinction at grade 8, which is incredibly hard to get, is the equivalent to an extra A level. That's how big of a deal some of those higher grades are. So if you're definitely thinking about going off to university to study music, I would definitely try and push for a grade. Even if you get grade 6 down, totally worth it. You're never going to regret having a certificate that tells you how good you are at your instrument. So for this next con, I wasn't really going to go into the material that has been prepared in certain exam boards and curriculums, and I'm not always sure about how exam boards work with music labels in terms of getting the rights to publish and write manuscripts and tabs out of certain artists' songs and how they can use the licensing for that. But a lot of the time, exam boards arrange and write their own versions of certain popular songs, and sometimes these versions are weird. I'll be doing a grade 2 guitar piece with a student, and actually the original version of the song is way simpler and way easier. That grade 2 song is just way too hard for grade 2. Often I would choose songs for concerts because I know certain students are working on specific songs for grades. However, if the grade song arrangement is vastly different from the original song, it's going to really mess with the student's head. And now they've got 2 different versions of this song in their head that they're trying to go back and forth from. The final pro I could pull from that con would be, especially in the early grades, a lot of the songs are a lot shorter, which makes it much easier for beginners to learn. Grade songs for the first 1, 2, 3, 4 grades only tend to be about 60 to 90 seconds long on average, which is much more helpful in the beginning. And the final con, it's not everybody's cup of tea, and especially if you're just learning for fun. So say if you're an adult student and you don't need UCAS points, and you might have even decided what artists and genres and styles of music that you're into and want to progress your instrument towards that skill level. And I have known adult students that have taken grades, and actually they've loved doing them. They love the linear kind of learning pattern, and they know if they tick this box and tick this box and tick this box, they're considered to be at this skill level. And also for kids and teenagers as well, just the same as the adults, those reasons can apply to them. At the time of this recording, there's about 8 billion people on this planet. And funny enough, not everybody's going to fit into the same mold of Western music education. Everybody learns at their own pace and in their own way, and that's totally fine. Doesn't mean they're a good or a bad student because of that. And as long as they are enjoying what they're doing, that's the main thing. Wow. I hope you found this video helpful, whether you are a music teacher who's been considering grades for a little while, or actually you're a parent or someone studying music and you don't know if grades is the right fit for you. I'd love to know about your guys' experiences with grades and some of the pros and cons that you've found whilst either taking them or using them for teaching material. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.